means it just got serious.
Welcome back to Marvelous Videos. I'm Rylan. Vibranium and Adamantium are both depicted as the strongest metals in the Marvel Universe, with numerous applications, and we've also witnessed multiple characters confronting each other using either of the two. So, in that case, why the confusion? Isn't it obvious that the victor's choice of metal is the strongest? Well, actually not. The word strong in this case is not really an objective statement, as there are certain aspects like density, durability, molecular stability, and the like, which should all be taken into consideration before arriving to any sort of conclusion. So, in today's episode of Marvelous Videos, we will be talking about one of the most debatable topics in the world of comics, that being Vibranium versus Adamantium. So, hold on to your science books, as we'll be delving into some quite nerdy stuff to make some logical comparisons between the two metals. Before we get into our explanation though, we do have one very small request. If you enjoy our content, then please support us by subscribing to our channel. This is just one small click for you, but for us, it means a lot. Now, let's begin. What is adamantium? According to Marvel's story, Hercules, the Greek demigod, once wielded an enchanted golden mace, which was made of adamantine. Inspired by the mythology, which also stated the golden mace to be indestructible, research scientist and metallurgist Dr. Myron McLean sought to develop the alloy for the United States government during World War II. It was initially planned to use the alloy as an indestructible tank armor, and Dr. Myron began experimenting with steel, vibranium, and an unknown catalyst. During this process, he fell asleep in his lab, and the metals he used to create the indestructible alloy fused together and somehow bonded. It worked and took the form of a disc, which was later modified into the iconic shield of Captain America. This version of adamantium was known as proto-adamantium. However, the exact proportions of the formula was unknown by Dr. Myron, and despite several attempts to recreate the alloy, he failed numerous times. He later managed to duplicate the alloy, but this time it was without the use of vibranium. This version was known as true adamantium, or primary adamantium, and was almost as strong as Captain America's shield. True adamantium was the one that was infused with Wolverine's skeleton and made him indestructible. The formula was top secret in the US government and was nearly indestructible. The alloy could only be manipulated in liquid form, and once it solidified, it could never be manipulated again. Although the formula was revealed and known to the US government, on numerous occasions the alloy was stated to be highly expensive. In Wolverine Origins, it was stated to be almost $5 million per pound. Owing to this, various scientists and metallurgists tried creating a cost-effective alloy similar to true adamantium, and they ended up making a similar alloy, which they named secondary adamantium, or adamantium steel. Secondary adamantium was much stronger than titanium and resistant to most damages. Apart from raw isolated forms, there is yet another version of adamantium, which is known as adamantium beta. This version was actually the adamantium inside Wolverine, whose molecular arrangement altered owing to his mutant abilities. There are many other versions of this alloy from different realities with their own unique different names. Some are not as strong as true adamantium, while some others have unique properties of being malleable. What is vibranium? Vibranium was a rare, mysterious ore, which, according to scientists on Earth, was extraterrestrial in origin. The ore was later found on the planet Torfa by Captain Marvel, who affirmed the theories of the scientists. There were numerous other planets where vibranium was found, but they were all exhausted, leaving Earth and Torfa as the only sources for the ore in the Milky Way galaxy. Vibranium was later classified in 5 different varieties, out of which 3 were known. There were the Wakandan vibranium, Antarctic vibranium, and the man-made reverbium. Earth's history of vibranium began after a meteorite collided on its surface. It struck the small African nation of Wakanda a million years ago. One of the resident tribes, led by Alumo Bashenga, investigated the site of the meteor crash and was stunned at the nature of the material. It was shown to be vibrating on its own. They decided to forge the material into weapons, but the radiation from the material turned some of the tribesmen insane. They were named the Demon Spirits. Their leader, Bashenga, who was also their greatest warrior, prayed to the Panther God, Bast, to grant him the strength to defeat the demon spirits, thereby becoming the first Black Panther. Peace was restored, while the vibranium's radiation permeated through the Wakandan soil, thereby mutating the flora and fauna. One of them was a heart-shaped herb eaten by the Black Panther cult and the flesh of white apes, consumed by the members of the white gorilla cult. Compared to Wakandan vibranium, the Antarctic vibranium, also known as antimetal, also known as vibranium B, also known as savage land vibranium, had exactly opposite properties. It could emanate vibrations, which could weaken the atomic and molecular bonds in nearby metals, resulting in the liquefaction of the solid metals. It could also produce protective counter-vibrations capable of throwing off sonic attacks. This version of vibranium could also create interdimensional portals, which could be used to travel to alternate realities. Lately, there was also reverbium, the version of vibranium that was synthetically created by Sajani Jaffrey, the ambitious, ruthless, greedy, and rude co-worker of Peter Parker at Horizon Labs. Instead of absorbing kinetic energy, it did the exact opposite by pushing it away. This made reverbium a powerful weapon, even in small amounts. Most of this version was destroyed owing to the risks after Hobgoblin, along with Kingpin, who planned on weaponizing it. Sajani kept some of it a secret until it abruptly got destroyed.
Him down like the dog he is. Better men than you have tried, and all of them have failed.
Adamantium versus Vibranium, which is the stronger metal? With all those introductory ideas about Vibranium and Adamantium, the comparison has reached further away from the conclusion. The different versions of each of the substances further widens the gray region of discussion. Density. To start with, we can focus on the quantity of matter contained per volume of the substance. From the destructive properties of vibranium, it is certainly less dense than adamantium. It is light, and the intrinsic property of the material to vibrate and absorb powerful blows has been stated as its ability to transform the energy into vibrational kinetic energy. Molecules and atoms in general have vibrational kinetic energy, but holding that into account, vibranium's capability to withstand ultra-powerful blows exhibits that its molecules are gaining enormous amounts of kinetic energy. Thus, to vibrate at such amplitudes, it needs to have sufficient intermolecular space, thereby justifying its low density. When it comes to bouncing off the objects, Captain America's shield has exhibited perfect elastic collision, in which momentum and kinetic energies are conserved. Therefore, since mass is constant, the conservation of kinetic energy is maintained by tremendous vibrations of the molecules. However, this does bring us to the question as to how the material is so resilient even after being low in density, but that is simple science fiction. Comparatively, adamantium has been stated to be highly dense, which explains why Wolverine is only 5 foot 3 inches in height, but weighs over 300 pounds. Durability. Equating the two with respect to durability, the two have showcased a magnificent extent of durability. Leaving aside the instance from Avengers Endgame, Captain America's shield has been destroyed 5 times in the comics. In Marvel Superhero Secret Wars issue 12, we see Dr. Doom obtaining the powers of the Beyonder and destroying the shield. Following this, Infinity Gauntlet issue 4 showcased Thanos destroying it. Next, it was Molecule Man in Avengers Volume 1 issue 215, and lastly, Thor wielding Odin Force in Avengers Volume 3 issue number 63. On the other hand, true adamantium, or the adamantium that we are familiar with, has showcased different instances of resisting powerful blows. For example, in Avengers Volume 1, issue number 66, when Thor used all his might and struck an adamantium cylinder with Mjolnir, it gave a dent. And later in Marvel Superheroes Secret Wars issue 12, when Hulk punched the adamantium-built Ultron, it created a slight dent. However, that is not enough to conclude on the durability test, as the extent of the power level endured by each of the metals is different. The case is completely different from Antarctic vibranium, as it can liquefy adamantium. Adamantium beta, the one present in Wolverine's skeleton, has been shown to withstand the heat produced by nuclear blasts as well. Versatility. In terms of versatility, adamantium has no such instances of being used in any other form other than an indestructible metal. As mentioned before, Captain America's shield is not pure vibranium, but an amalgamation of other metals with it. The Wakandan vibranium is not just a solid metal, it can be manipulated and used for many more purposes. The entire advancement of the high-tech nation of Wakanda has been owing to vibranium. The Wakanda soldiers used weapons, shields, and many other gadgets from the ore. Needless to mention, its radiation created a plant that could grant superhuman abilities to its consumer. Thus, when it comes to versatility, there is no question that vibranium is way superior to adamantium. Keeping all that into account though, we can conclude that overall, vibranium is stronger than adamantium in totality. Topic, Marvel fans need to know this. Although the debate might upset fans in favor of adamantium, it no longer matters. Marvel has already introduced a new metal that is superior to both vibranium and adamantium. Revealed in December 2020's Sword, Volume 2, Issue 1, this new metal is known as mysterium. It all happened after Sword was reformed under Krakoan's supervision. While planning as to what might come next, Commander Abigail Brandt assembled 6 mutants, whose powers could be used together to travel beyond Far Shore and safely into the White Hot Room, a place known known for serving as the afterlife and the base of operations for the Phoenix Force. This team was known as the Six, and when they entered the White Hot Room, they procured a precious metal, which they named mysterium. Now, in terms of strength and durability, mysterium is as strong as secondary adamantium, but there are a few more interesting attributes to make this metal unique and superior. Firstly, it can conduct electricity with nearly 100% efficiency. It barely conducted or retained any heat, and could also resonate with magic. Using this against characters with magical powers is highly effective, as it could negate all spells and magic. Lastly, it is also radiation proof. Marvelous verdict. And with all that said, we have finally concluded our video, and we hope you've liked our content. The debate between Vibranium and Adamantium has been going on for decades. It's been so consistent that we tend to forget metals like Uru and Dragonite. We are yet to see what impact Mysterium is going to make in the Marvel Universe, but we can't wait to hear your thoughts on it. Let us know in the comment section below what your views and theories on Adamantium and Vibranium are, and stay tuned for the next Marvelous video. Until next time, have a good one and be safe.